Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Raw Radiant Health, and I'm Natasha, and thank you for joining me. So today I want to talk about emotional eating. The other day I talked about binge eating, and I talked about more on the physical side, about how we can find ourselves overeating and binge eating if we're not eating enough, especially during the day. That at the end of the day we're famished and we just devour everything in front of us. Now, today I want to talk about the emotional side of overeating and of binge eating, because this is a big issue, and I believe this is the largest issue behind weight gain. And it's because food, it not only nourishes us, but it also has effects on our brain chemistry, on our moods, on everything. And a lot of people grow up being taught ever since they're like little kids by their parents. Like when something goes wrong, their parent goes and gives them like a candy bar or, you know, some ice cream, something to soothe them, and gives them the so-called comfort foods, right? And so a lot of times this can actually be ingrained in us from when we're like a little child, that when we're not feeling good, we need to have these sweet or these salty or these fried foods to make us feel better. And when we learn that as a kid, and then we're constantly doing that, then as an adult, this becomes a pattern, and it becomes quite difficult to break. And then eventually we can gain a lot of weight, or we can be putting our health in jeopardy because of it. And so I want to sort of talk about emotional eating and give you guys maybe a few tips and stuff as to how to stop it, or at least how to recognize it, that eventually you can break the pattern. Because some patterns can be broken like overnight, but other ones, it takes a while. It's like it took us a while to condition ourselves to go and eat food when we're feeling bad. So it might take a while to recondition ourselves to do something else, you know, instead of eating when we're feeling bad. So, because the main thing is I want to point out is that, you know, food is everywhere, and it's used as, you know, for recreation, for social things, and also to almost be like a mind-altering substance as well. And what it can do for a lot of us is, depending on what you're eating, it can numb you out, and it can check you out. So let's say you're not happy with your current life circumstance, or you're not happy with your job, or things are not going well in your relationships, or family members are on your back, or whatever it is, you're just under stress, or you're just not content with how things are, that a lot of times we reach for things outside of ourselves to either help release that energy of anxiety or frustration or anger or whatever it is. We can use things to release that energy, or we can use these things to push the energy down so it doesn't come up. And it can be food that we use, or it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be tobacco, it could be overspending, gambling, sex. I mean, there's all sorts of different addictions and different things we can use to numb out or check out. So a solution that I've come up with to deal with emotional eating, and that's actually really helped me a lot, is, you know, like I talk about numbing out, and especially of checking out. Now, what about doing the opposite, right? Instead of checking out, how about checking in with yourself? Because one thing I've been doing a lot recently, which is helping, is by checking in, by asking myself, where am I? What am I feeling? And letting myself feel how I'm feeling. As bad as it might be, or as great as it might be, I'm allowing these things to come out, and I'm recognizing them, and I'm living in them. So it might, like you might start journaling, or you might start doing meditation, or you just might start talking to yourself more often and just checking in. Just as a parent checks in with a child to see how they're doing, you check in with yourself to see how you're doing. And I find the more frequent you do this, whether it's like every day, like, putting time aside to write in a journal and let out all the emotions and all that you're feeling and all that you're thinking, by letting that out, putting it on paper, you'll feel lighter afterwards. And one thing like I really suggest doing is, like, let's say like you've had a really rough day at work, right? And you come home and all you're thinking of is, reaching for either that pint of ice cream or making a huge raw cheesecake that you're going to devour the whole thing in one sitting. Before you actually do that, there's a 20-minute rule. A lot of healthcare practitioners know this. A lot of personal trainers talk about this. I mean, this is a well-known rule. The 20-minute rule is that before you're about to go and devour something, to stop for 20 minutes. Go and either take a walk, go and take a bath, or sit down and do some journaling. Do something for 20 minutes before you allow yourself to either binge out or have the food party, okay? And usually that 20-minute rule is that it gives you 20 minutes to sort yourself out and to see what you're doing, rather than being caught in the throes of emotion where you come home or you just got off the phone and you're just reaching for something. This is 20 minutes to just stop and change your environment or change your frame of mind, whatever it is, by going for a walk, by writing, by doing something else. And then after that 20 minutes, you're allowed to go, and if you want to have that food party, you go right ahead and go and have what you want to have. But just stop for 20 minutes, and you'd be amazed to see what can come out of that, because a lot of times you just need a breath of fresh air and just getting your blood moving in order to vent some of that energy, rather than reaching for the bag of chips. Now, another thing is I'm a firm believer of this, is making sure that you take time out for yourself every single day. And I know a lot of people have very, very busy schedules. They've got families, they've got children, they've got like 3 jobs going on, they've got everything going on at once, right? And how can they take time out for themselves when they can't even, get other things done? But in order for you to maintain your health and your a good mental health as well, and spiritual health and physical health, you need to take time out for yourself. And my suggestion is that everyone should be taking at least a minimum of a half an hour a day to be doing something that they enjoy. And this does not include food, especially if you're dealing with being on a diet or you're dealing with emotional issues with eating. This cannot have anything to do with food, okay? This half an hour a day has to be doing something else that makes you feel good about being you and being in your body. The more good things that you add into your daily life, that will push out the bad things that you don't need in your daily life. And so it's better to concentrate more on the good and make that big, that it takes up so much space in your life that the less you need the bad. And you'll feel better about yourself as well. And these things will build up your self-confidence, your self-esteem, and also just your whole perception of your life. But you have to check in with yourself instead of checking out. So I'm wishing you guys a fabulous, fabulous day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!